Welcome back to the special Tax Day edition of Hannity. We are live from the Georgia State Capitol building right here in Atlanta, where people from all around the state are protesting oppressive taxation. Now we go to our good friends, Mike Huckabee, former governor of Arkansas, and Neil Bortz, who was Atlanta's own. They were at the Fair Tax rally in South Carolina. Neil, this is why we call it Bortzland, my friend. How are you? Can you guys hear me? Neil, are you there?
We can now. Yeah, now we can.
Yes, we can.
Oh, okay, now we can. Ladies and gentlemen, Neil Bortz and Mike Huckabee, all right? There you go. Neil, there are fair tax signs all over the Atlanta Tea Party here tonight. And I know you have a huge crowd in South Carolina. Tell us what is a fair tax, and is this now the moment where America can literally change this burdensome tax code that we have?
Well, the fair tax is the answer. We know what the problem is. The problem is runaway government, too much tax. The fair tax is the answer. It eliminates all personal and business taxes. It taxes you only when you spend money at the retail level. Nobody pays the tax on the basic necessities of life. Simply put, Sean, you know, people need to go to fairtax.org and study it, but the question is this: would you rather be taxed on 35% of everything you earn or 23% of everything you spend? It's just that simple. Yeah. And I think I know the answer for most everybody.
No, I think I do. Now, Neil, I give you a lot of credit, and I remember you and I had this discussion a while back, because when you launched your fair tax book, and I did one of the early interviews when the book came out, and you called me a week later and you said, Sean, you're not going to believe it. It's a book on taxes is going to debut on the New York Times list at #1. And it did. And it held that position. And I said to you, Neil, maybe we're 5 years away from America politically being ready. But I'm beginning to think, Neil, that you were ahead of the curve. And this might now be the moment that this country is saying, you know what, we can do better than a tax code that our own Treasury Secretary can't even figure out.
Well, Sean, let me tell you what I told the crowd here in South Carolina tonight. We now call acts of terrorism man-made disasters by decree from the White House. Our tax code is a man-made disaster. It is an act of terrorism against the American people. It has to stop. We have the solution, and maybe our time has come.
Governor, let's talk about it from the political standpoint. Politically, is this now the moment?
Sean, it's very much the moment, because here's what we've seen today. Hundreds of thousands of American citizens fed up with their government, tired of being told that we work for the government doesn't work for us. And the fair tax gives us a way to channel the anger. It's one thing to be angry, but that's not going to help us if we don't channel it into something positive, and the fair tax is the solution to the problem. Today, the Tea Parties across America have singled out the problem. Now we are going to be able to take it to the next step, and that's the solution, and that's what the fair tax brings to Americans.
All right, Governor, let me ask you this question. Because the president went on his European tour and he referred to America as being arrogant. The Homeland Security Department is probably checking the license plates of everybody here. So I guess my question is, how do you think the White House responds tonight as Rahm Emanuel will deny it to the world and the Atlanta Journal-Constitution will downplay the massive crowd that showed up here?
Well, certainly the mainstream media is going to give more attention to 6 women dressed up in pink uniforms protesting the war than they will 6 million Americans standing across this country today. But they can do all they want. When it gets down to it, 6 million votes beats 6 votes any day. And we've got to go out and throw people out of Congress who aren't listening to us and put some people in the congressional seats who actually work for the American people and quit working for all of the people in the Wall Street to Washington axis of power.
Sean, this cannot end tonight.
What's that, Neil?
I'm saying this can't end tonight. This has to be a beginning. We have to really make our voices heard next year in the elections.
All right, Neil, ladies and gentlemen, Atlanta Zone, we call it Bortzland. We're in Atlanta. Neil Bortz, Mike Huckabee, guys, thank you for being with us. And coming up, much more from Atlanta's Tax Day Tea Party and tea parties around the country. RedState.com's Eric Erickson, Congressman Tom Price will be here next. And don't miss it, superstar, country music superstar John Rich. He's got a live performance. That's coming up straight ahead. Plus tonight in Atlanta, We, the People's Revolution, is kicking off their campaign to get a pocket constitution in the hands of every American before September 17th. They've already distributed 12,000 of them to the people here in Atlanta. And by the way, to the people of the AJC, they ran out. So the project and also the Heritage Foundation, they're all great people. You can go to AtlantaTeaParty.net, the Heritage Foundation at AskHeritage.org. They have them as well. And we'll continue. John Rich, they're shutting Detroit down. He's going to play that coming up. Go ahead.
The Volkswagen Routan is not only